welcome into this playoff edition of the Ball Out podcast, buddy. We got a preview show to do. We're going to run through the bracket here in just a few minutes, and we'll talk about some stuff there. Then we'll jump into the Buckeyes game. But right off the rip, I'm your host Jordan. Here with my co-host Billy. How you doing tonight, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Hey, glad to be back on again. How you doing?
Buddy, I'm fantastic, man. Especially considering we got a number 1 ranked basketball team in Knoxville right now, buddy.
Yes, sir. Hey, that's just that little icing on the cake because the Lady Balls are coming.
Buddy, they're ranked in the top 25 now too. They're playing good ball. Shoot, another 2 months, baseball will be here. We know what's coming there from Tony V. But most importantly, at this moment in time, our football Tennessee Volunteers are playoff bound.
Yes, sir.
Heading to the shoe. We got a whole other show for that tonight. This one anyway. We're just going to talk about the bracket a little bit, see what we like. We'll see what we don't like. But let's just dive into it, man. Right off the rip, Vols go to the shoe. Winner gets Oregon. We'll save our comments on that one for the next show. Go damn Vols, though. Buddy, the rest of the bracket, though, man, we got in-state and an in-state battle. We got the Hoosiers traveling to South Bend to take on Touchdown Jesus and the Fighting Irish.
Yeah, that should be a pretty good game, man. I was like when I saw the matchup, the in-state rivalry, of course, it's going to be a great fight between two good teams, but I still think that Notre Dame going to come out on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Notre Dame's got a solid defense. Indiana's not been here before. Of course, same could be said about the Vols, but, Indiana's not been there before, and I would like to think that the Vols are a step above Indiana in talent, of course. Spread on that one, though, man. And most of the playoff games are pretty close in spread, except for one. Notre Dame is favored by 7.5, and the over-under on that game is 50.5. I'm not going to lie to you, dude. That under is pretty enticing because Notre Dame's got a pretty good defense, but
that's too low for me, man. I'm thinking that's going to go over easy because Indiana have something to prove too after losing that game.
Sure,
with that right now, and of course they're kind of feeling disrespected right now too. So. You got a team of kids that just, I know they've never been there before, but when you got a group of kids that's hot and mad right now, Notre Dame's still hard to watch out because it's not going to be just a landslide. I think this will be like one of those field goal type situations or overtime type game.
Yeah. I could see it, man. Well, it's kind of like, you want to liken it to maybe a hot rookie quarterback in the NFL. They don't know what they don't know. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to come out, they're going to give it all they got. I don't know, man. I think that Notre Dame defense, I could see it being a 35-10 type of game being in South Bend. You know what I'm saying? But also, on the flip side of that, though, man, like you said, Indiana going to come in a little pissed off, maybe give them a better game than what we think. Either way, though, I don't think either one of them is going much further than this one because they got Georgia next up.
And you're right. You're right about that.
Carson Beck or whoever the backup was last week. Stockton was his last name. I don't remember his first one. A Gunner. Best quarterback name I've ever heard. One of them outside of Jim Bob Cooter.
See, threw me off pack right there, man. I was...
You done ready to talk about SMU.
And that is like, when first time I heard that recruit's name, I knew he was going to catch it for the rest of his life, his career. When it came to that, though, like, Bob, I don't even like to say that word because that's like the old...
You feel dirty.
Yeah, that's like the old school way of dating the ladies. I'm not going to say that. Let's get away from it.
We'll just call him JBC. JBC.
JBC.
We'll call him JBC.
Yes. But classic. You're right.
He
had anything like this ever again.
He loved the frat parties, But either way, I think that part of the bracket right there. That's tough because I mean you're coming in on a tough Georgia team with a good defense. They got a good defense. Their offense, honestly, it looked a lot better with Stockton in there than it did Carson Beck. I hate to say it, but it did.
I just wish Tennessee would got the Carson Beck that everybody else got.
No shit. Good Lord. That was terrible, man. Like, he looked like Tom Brady out there against us. And
like everybody, man. He had Tom Brady. He had a little Lamar Jackson.
yeah.
He was on all silly clickling easily against Tennessee.
Yes.
And then he gets with them and like he gets hit. Now he's hurt. Like he can't play. And the thing is, I knew Georgia was going to win as soon as I knew the backup came in because it reminded me of the year remember when Tua came in?
Yeah. One pass, and that was pretty much it.
That right there, if Tua would have never played that game, Alabama would have lost.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, and that's not a knock on Hurts. That's just the way the game was at that time. You know, I mean, that's just the way it goes. It's hard to prep for a backup quarterback. I mean, it just is, especially whenever you know you're more than likely not going to see him. You know, I mean, shoot, man, we've lost plenty of games to backup quarterbacks in our day. You know, I mean, LSU.
Please don't bring it up.
I'm not. I know that one hurts because it hurts me. I have no blood, sweat, and tears in that program, as bad as I hate to say it. But I know that, like, it's just, you know, over time, it's like, you know, you go through and you look at some of our losses and you're like, okay, well, was it Butch's first year? Florida, 10-9 up here, and they ended up beating us with a backup quarterback.
Backup quarterback.
It's killer, man. It's hard to prepare for one.
Think about all the games that we've lost because of backup quarterbacks. This year, it was a loss for us too, a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas had to play somebody else instead of Taylor Green. I mean, it was, yeah. And that's our own doing. That's the bad part, is it was our own doing. You know what I'm saying? So from there, though, let's go on down to the other half of the bracket. SMU travels to Happy Valley. They've got Penn State. Winner of that one gets Boise State.
Man, like, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm going to say this. Whoever wins that game will beat the crap out of Boise State.
You know, I agree with you on that, just simply because Penn State, you and I kind of talked about that the other night, and Penn State did a good job of exposing Oregon. Like, Oregon's defense got manhandled, dude. They got manhandled by that Penn State offense. SMU's a better football team than a lot of people want to give them credit for, too.
Yes.
They are a lot better than a lot of people want to give them credit for. Either one of I think Boise makes that early exit stage left. You know what I mean?
And then, of course, you know, with SMU, like, a lot of people don't realize that, you know, SMU last week, Clemson really was very lucky, though.
They were.
They came out real fast and they got up early real quick because truly I thought SMU was going to win that game by a landslide.
Well, even you and I talked about that. I was like, Clemson's going to boat race them. And then you were like, not so fast, my friend.
Clemson came out on point, clicking on all cylinders. They I mean, offense, defense, special teams. The first quarter was like, whoa, because I remember you texted me, you was like, oh, this is about to get ugly. I said, man, no, I don't think it's going to be ugly. I think SMU would come back and win the game. And they almost did.
They damn near did. They damn near did it, buddy. That quarterback, man, that quarterback for SMU, once he settled in, he was just fine. They got a good run defense. That's going to be a tough game, tough out for Penn State. I really think so. The only way I think that game turns dramatically for Penn State is if it was to snow or something up there, because that SMU does like to throw the ball.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. That one is an 8.5 point spread, and it's a 53.5 point over under. I would definitely take the over on that one. And
Especially if it doesn't snow and the weather is perfect. I mean, I want to say perfect, no
it's
snow,
going to be cold.
yeah, cold. I mean, the kids okay, but God, if it snows, I'm going to say Penn State will win. I'm not going to say convincingly. I still think they'll win, but if they do, they'll cover the spread
Sure, sure.
in point one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm with you there. But if we're talking, 35, 30-degree weather, no snow, nothing like that, give me SMU in the points. SMU in the over.
I'm taking the points. Matter of fact, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the money line.
Yeah. Well, James Franklin can't ever win the big game. I said it. Everybody else has too. He's the king of 7 and 5. So, hey, it wouldn't surprise me in the least bit. And honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing an SMU Boise State round 2 matchup. Neutral site. I mean, hey, who knows what could happen. Next up on the bottom part of that bracket, though, Clemson going to the fake UT, horns down, Texas.
That one's gonna be the thing is with that one though, you gotta remember Dabo, man, he's a sneaky one though, man. He's a sneaky one, man. Like
He is.
He's still that coach he used to be dominant too though. He was that program that was, I'm gonna say it. I mean, you know how Alabama was dominant for that while, and then Clemson was always that little ant that was always itching to
Yeah.
fight. He still got a little Austin in his tank, man. And that defense, man, they got some kids on that D line, man. I'm telling you, woo.
They're solid, man. Solid. Texas, man. And Texas too. How are they that here's one part of maybe the downside of playing in that championship game. Georgia got that first round bye. Texas now was probably preparing to have that first round bye. Now they have to play week 1 of the playoffs. Granted, you still get, week and a half, 2 weeks of rest, but you're playing on, probably a totally different opponent than what you're having to play now. So, buddy, I'll tell you what, I'd almost throw Clemson down on the money line outright because here's the thing, that spread is 11.5. That's a big spread for this game, I feel like.
I think they're thinking about the Clemson that was before the last game, because Clemson, no one thought that Clemson was going to play like they
That's
did
true.
SMU. I truly didn't think that Clemson was going to do that. And they came out and played lights out. And Texas coach, he went on live and he was, kind of complaining about the fact that they wasn't going to have any rest. It was talking about, how the situation with how the playoffs is working out. And like you said, he was preparing for a bye.
He was.
And that right there kind of tells me that there are some really serious injuries
Yeah.
in the program that we don't know about it. And he just told on himself to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you can read between the lines with some of these coaches, I mean, a lot of it's coach speak, but, you start, kind of thinking about it and you're like, we'll see what happens. I mean, 11.5 point spread, it's a 51.5 over under, buddy. And the Texas Georgia game, the SEC championship game was not a high over under either. And it didn't hit. It didn't hit the over.
No, it didn't.
Man, I don't know. I want to lean towards Clemson. I really do. Just because it's kind of one of those things too. I mean, we talked about it just now. Texas was clearly preparing to win that SEC championship game. They had so many opportunities in that game to put it away and win it. And they couldn't do it. Could not do it. Like it's like I told you, I texted you during the game. It's like watching my buddies at the bar. They just couldn't score. They couldn't score.
I'll tell you this, Dan. Whoever wins this game, oh gosh, they have an opponent that they gonna have to worry about.
Dude, that Arizona State running back, man, he is legit. He is legit.
They are fundamentally sound everywhere.
They are, man. And they were talking about, too, that Big 12 championship game, man. Like, neither of those teams had greater than like a 2% chance of winning the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. We got one in the top. We got one with a first round bye. And that kid, dude, to quote Nick Saban, he could run through you like shit through a tin horn. Like, it's impressive how good that kid is.
I'd say they're not really. I mean, like they're better than what people are giving them credit for, man. The defense is really good, man. The special teams is what people don't talk about. The silent killer. These guys, they're not missing field goals. They're not missing extra points. You're not returning any kicks. This team's mattering. They're doing all the right things to win ball games. I mean, like, I'm surprised they're not undefeated.
Right? They do the dirty work. They do the work nobody else wants to do. They don't do the sexy work. It's just they get out there, they do what they got to do to win the game. And that's what they do. You know what I mean? They don't, put 50 up a game, none of that stuff. They put damn near close to it up in the Big 12 championship game, though.
Of course, they're great at home, so that's going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, after we get through this week, though, all the games go to neutral site.
That's right. It turns to the bowl games in a sense.
Yes. So after this, it's kind of like once you get to this next round, anything can happen. We'll jump into some discussion points here in just a minute, but I do want to touch on the spread for the Vols game. It's a 7.5 point spread. Ohio State is favored by 7.5, and it's a 46.5 point over under, the lowest out of the first four games in the first round.
And I love that, just because now when you see any spread, we have these two type of offenses.
Uh-huh.
These offenses can score points.
They can.
And you get a total under 50 points. Now, see, the part that they ain't saying anything about Ohio State defense, because they know Ohio State defense is not as good as they think. And so they have to be really respecting the Vols defense when it comes to that total. So now when you give me a total that low, it's going way lower than that. So one of these teams are not going to score that many points.
I could see it being a 2017 type of game.
The way
24-17 maybe.
It may be a total shutout for somebody.
Ooh. I like our chances. That being said, buddy, let's jump into some discussion points here right quick. Is there a potential upset in this first round? And I think you're going to go with the same one that I will, that you like. And I say upset as in upset, because at this point in time, I don't feel like these are the 12 best teams we've got. It's not an upset, so to speak. It would be, but to me, it's not. Like, this is the 12 best we've got in college football. I don't think it is. But in this, term, is there an upset that you like?
Right now, the only one that I look at that would be a true upset, because the way everybody thought they got it in. They was thinking that the pick that Alabama didn't get in, and they took SMU. I truly think they did it right, because Alabama had 3 losses, man.
You can't put
3
them
losses.
out.
You shouldn't even be thought about in this situation when it comes to playoff. This is not the NFL where you got the divisions and stuff and like that. That's not how this has worked. But the committee made it to a situation where it was like that. And right now, the only big upset that I look at is the SMU right now. Everything else, I think it's going to play out, be, maybe close wins and everybody, the favorites cover it. Now, the upset that everybody, I don't think it'll be an upset is when the Vols win. I don't think that's an upset, because we supposed to be the team that's ranked ahead. They knew what they was doing when they ranked Penn State the way they did. They did not want Penn State to come to Rocky Top.
Or Ohio State, neither one.
Because Ohio State. If Ohio State would have came to Knoxville, that total would have been 40 points.
No doubt.
Probably wouldn't have been 40 points scored.
Well, the thing about it is, man, is either one of those two teams is who we would have ended up with. I mean, because they could have just as easily bumped Ohio State ahead of Penn State. We could have ended up with either one of those two. And if it would have been a game in Knoxville, you and I have talked about this too, outside of here. It don't matter who we play. If it's in Knoxville, buddy, we know who's winning that game. We know who's winning that game.
Total different situation.
Tennessee is good enough to where if it's a game at home, it doesn't matter if it's Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, Arizona, Arizona State, any of the other 7 teams in this 12-team playoff. If it's in Knoxville, Tennessee's winning that game.
I'm with you there. That I mean, just hey, Neyland is a tough place to play right now, man. And the world knew that. They knew that.
Neyland Stadium is what it used to be when you played 20 years ago. It's what it used to be. We went through a rough patch there to where it was not, that the feared place to go play. But it's back. Neyland is back. It does not matter. Now, but we're one of those teams, though, too, to where we're good enough to where we can beat anybody, anywhere, anytime. But going on the road, man, we've had our woes. We're good enough to beat anybody, but we're also vulnerable enough to lose to somebody on the road.
Yes, we are, man. And with that situation, I still blame coaches for that, man, because, you got to open your playbook a little bit more. And I'm not saying you're not giving your team a chance to win. I know you want to win, but, the product that I see on the road is totally different that you're coaching when it's time to win a game. And that's the part that I don't like. Let's go out there and it's nothing to save anymore. I mean, everybody knows saying to me, it's X's and O's. I mean, there's no trick plays. We got to win the ball.
It's one of those, kind of, it's balls out time, buddy. You drop them, you let them hang, and you go. That's where we're at right now. Is our first round lock for you? I'm with you on the SMU pick, though, by the way. I mean, you and I got that one on lock.
I think that's that one right there. You got SMU, and then the next one. I'm going to go ahead and take Notre Dame. I'm going to take Notre Dame on that one just because it's a home game for them, and I know Indiana going to be kind of hot coming in trying to get a quick win, but I'm going to take it with the experience. A team that's been there before, understand it, and know what they need to do to win the ball game.
See, I like that Notre Dame pick, but I'm going to go kind of outside the box here. I'm going to take coaching over experience, and I'm going to go with Clemson over Texas. That would be my first round lock.
That's a tough one, man. I mean, it's just now, if we get the first half Clemson that we saw last week, I can see this being a 50-50 game, but I truly think that Texas defense is too strong for that offense. Once they shut the run down, it's going to be tough. I mean, it just depends on Texas quarterback too. If Texas quarterback is playing like he's capable of playing, I think Texas will win by a landslide.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, man. Ewers is very inconsistent. He's been inconsistent this year.
Yeah,
that's why they brought Arch in.
He's played 2 back-to-back games inconsistent. So
that's true.
That's true. Guess what? Next game, he may have 5 touchdowns.
Hey, I'll still be here one way or the other if he does, buddy. The next question I got for you: who's got the easiest path to the national championship?
My Volunteers.
I like it. Man, I'll tell you what.
And I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not. And the reason I say that is because the team that we're playing, they're not used to being knocked in the mouth by defense or by defense that's keeping you from scoring, and
sure.
Oregon, they're used to to run and fun and get it quick, score quick. Now, that's not going to happen with a defense like Tennessee because Tennessee is a stingy defense. So they bend, but they're not going to break.
No, I agree with you.
This is like to be the first team that we've had in a long time that don't give up the big plays like we're used to seeing them give it up. And that's what Oregon works off of. I'm not worried about Ohio State because they do the exact same thing. So we're going to be prepared if we win against Ohio State. Because I truly think Ohio State got a lot of great athletes, man. I mean, like
They do.
everybody's talking about Oregon is the team to beat. I don't think there is a team in the playoffs right now that is the team to beat. Even though they are number one, I think that they are beatable.
They are. They are. Well, to me, Penn State made them look very, very vulnerable. Like I say, man, that Penn State offense kind of pushed that defense around for Oregon. I feel like that. Everybody's like, oh, well, the winner of that Tennessee Ohio State game's got the hardest path. Whatever. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm with you on that one. I think whoever wins that game, of course, Oregon, Ohio State, they've done played once this year. We see how that one went. Granted, it was a 1-2 point game. I don't think Oregon wants to see either of these two teams. I don't think they do. I really don't.
And another thing when it comes to the Oregon situation, you talk about how long it's going to take for them to actually play a game. You're talking about how rusty they're going to be. You're talking about a 3-week process. This is a long time to be off before you play another football game.
Yeah.
And I have done it before. I mean, not 3 weeks, but when you have 2 weeks, like a bye and then another week to practice to get ready for a team, it's not easy to come up and be ready. I mean, yes, you're ready. You know the situation. But when you got a team that is rare oiled and the machine is still going and the machine haven't stopped and it's not cold, will turn different when it's still warm. I'm telling you.
Right. No, I'm with you there. To me, I think the easiest path is whoever wins that SMU Penn State game, and then you go on to Boise State in the next round. I think that's your easiest path right there.
I say the same thing. Just be realistic. I'll say that one is the easiest one just because of who's waiting. Boise State, they're gonna be up for it. They really are, man. They when you have kid that's up for the Heisman, your troops typically play a little bit harder for you just because they want you to win it. And they're going to do whatever it takes to get him in that situation. I truly think, when is the Heisman presented? Is it before all these games happen or is it after?
Let's see.
That's what I was wondering too, because if it's like after like Boise play this next game, I have a feeling they can cause him the Heisman.
Let's see here.
So I think it's before, if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say it is.
Because it would be fair to like the other teams, other kids that are like that maybe didn't make it in a sense. But I think
it's December 14th. So we've got
next week. It's Friday.
Yeah. Well, okay. So today is the 11th. It'll be Saturday night. We'll know who wins the Heisman on Saturday night. So it's presented before any of this happens.
Okay. So yeah. So if Boise, he's gonna win it. So yes, Boise's not gonna win the game.
Right. So let's just put it like that. Who's got the hardest path in this 12-team playoff?
Gosh, that's an easy one there, man. The Vols.
Yeah, I mean, easiest and hardest. I mean, it really is.
They knew. I'm gonna continue to say this until they stop being so biased against my Vols. The Tennessee have done everything they need to do to be in the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they was ranked higher than everybody else in the situation, everybody already said that they was out. Regardless, I mean, they count them out before the whole situation when they did lose to Georgia. It was like, I'm gonna say, even when I played, they didn't like us.
No,
it's still, like we was underdog national championship and we was number one.
Yeah, I know. I remember it too, man. Like They have never liked Tennessee. Never. I mean, ESPN's gone out of their way to make sure and let everybody know it. That's the way it's always been. And I don't get it. I mean, maybe now that, social media is a thing, I get it to an extent, but the best teams are the best teams. It don't matter what the fan base is like, none of that. I mean, and it kills me to say that because I hate Alabama. I don't like most of their fans, but they've been the best team more times than not. But they're also the media darling. And it's like, what do you do? I would agree with you on that, though, because then we've got Oregon in the next round, and then we win that, we've got to beat Georgia to go to the national championship. So, like, it's not going to be easy. We've always said it, man. There's nothing easy about being a Vol fan.
Nothing easy, man. And then here, today, when I saw they released the schedule for next season, and I realized that our first SEC game is, guess who?
Georgia.
And as soon as I saw that, it kind of made me start thinking of conspiracy theories, man, in a sense. I'm like, this is going to be one of those situations where they call it the rematch.
Yeah.
The rematch. And gosh, man, and I'm going to tell you this right now, but they better not let the Vols win a national championship.
Yeah. No, 100%. Don't let it happen. I mean, let it happen, but don't let it happen. You know what I mean?
They're getting ready to see something they haven't seen in a long time. I say this is where we start a trend to get back to a situation to where we were more than 50% chance of winning the game every week.
That's it, buddy. Man, we're there right now too. That's a crazy thing, is we're there now. Georgia's the only game left on the schedule every year now where we're like, I don't know, but dude, I'll tell you what, we're there, and it's a great quote, Travis Tritt. It's a great day to be alive. Here's my next question, because it's been a topic all week. Should strength of schedule matter? I think it should.
It should. I mean, like, it should. Like, the thing is, the committee didn't know that. I don't think they was prepared to have this many teams with this many losses.
I don't either. Right. I think it was one of those where they were thinking, okay, we'll have a couple of undefeated teams. We'll have, 6 or 7 one-loss teams. They weren't prepared for the parity in college football this year.
And see, that's where I knew this year was going to be so controversial when they jumped up with more teams. And it's going to get worse. If they add more teams, it will be worse. It will.
Yeah.
Because you don't understand how when you got like, for instance, I'll give you a situation where no one thought Ole Miss would be what it was at, right?
That's true.
They lost that many games. And, of course, no one thought Alabama would have lost that many games.
No. Okay, so if you would have asked me at the beginning of the season, what games are Alabama going to lose? Are Alabama more than likely going to lose? I would have said, of course, Tennessee, because I felt like that was one. It's up here. I liked their chances. Whatever. I liked that one. I would not have said Vanderbilt. I can tell you that right now. I'd have bet the farm they would have beat Vanderbilt. Oklahoma, that was one that at the beginning of the year I'd have been like, that's a toss up. And then as the season kind of progressed, I'd have been like, no, they'll go out there and they'll beat them. But they flew over 700 miles just to kick a damn field goal and lose.
Well, my prediction was correct. I said it was losing 3 games this year.
And you were right.
And the reason I said that, I wasn't trying to be disrespectful.
Right.
I was saying it because when you have a totally different staff, it's different though, man. It's different because you don't have that edge anymore.
Right.
Now, it's a difference when Nick Saban walked on that field and everybody, oh, here they come.
Yeah.
Here we go again. We got Nick. It's a mental situation with the coaches too. And that's when Yeah, it's kind of like, remember when you watched the movie The Blind Side when everybody saw Coach Foreman coming in? It was like, oh, here come Coach.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
The situation that I was saying that it would be because the psychological part of football or sports, it matters. People don't believe me when I say that.
Absolutely.
I truly thought Georgia was going to lose 3 this year.
They should have, honestly. They should have.
But I didn't. I didn't think it would work the way it did. It did.
No.
I thought. Go look at the show. I thought my Vols would be where they're at right now.
Yeah, I think we all kind of did. The only game that I, as a Vol fan, that I was like, no, was the Oklahoma game. We won it. And I also said Georgia. But I think I think both of us could go back and be like, hey, look, this is where I think we might trip up at. This is where I think we're going to for sure do it. I'd called the Arkansas game for a week, saying, hey, this is going to be one of those games where, we're going to have to bring our A game. We always have trouble out there. But also, to your point, you said 3 losses for Alabama. I think I think I picked them maybe to lose 2, but if I was going to pick them to lose 3, it damn sure wouldn't have been the 3 that I picked that they lost. You know what I'm saying? I'd have took Oklahoma and Georgia. The third one, I would have took Georgia and Tennessee, I should say. That third one, though, man, I would not. I swear to God, I'd never thought it would have been the Vandy. I mean,
no. See, like that's what I mean. It was the Oklahoma for me the whole time, because the time of them playing Oklahoma is when Oklahoma gets good. They're starting to figure out their identity, and boom, Oklahoma is tough to play at the end of the season.
Yeah, they are. They always seem to get it together. So let's hit a couple quick points here, and then we'll call this one an episode. Who's your dark horse to win it all?
I'm gonna be honest. I mean, like right now, I already don't place my wager on it, so I'm taking my Vols, man. I mean, like they're in a very good situation because of the the path that they have to go to get it. And I love the path because it's not an easy path. It's the way the championship should be.
Yeah.
Nothing should be an easy way when you win in championships.
It keeps them focused.
There's no like time off for them. They got to come with a game every week.
Well, okay, so here's one thing. I'm gonna go outside of that one just because I knew that was the way you were gonna go. I want to go with you on it. I'm with you on it. I'm running with you on it. Whatever. I'm with you. We're gonna win it. We're gonna win it all. But here's one thing I'm gonna say. Ohio State, I think we'll do what Michigan did to them, and I hope we plant the flag. Oregon, we can beat Oregon. Georgia, we've already got a game plan for that rematch. I'll tell you that right now. You know just as well as I do. We thought maybe we'd end up playing them twice. I think we've got that one intact. If I've got to pick a true dark horse, though, outside of the Vols, it's coming from that bottom part of the bracket. You got to go with Clemson, man. Again, coaching Dabo. It's hard to go against them. Hard to go against Dabo. Even though he's not truly bought into NIL, all that, he's doing well enough to make the playoffs. And granted, it's a 12-team playoff, but he's doing good enough to be here. I don't necessarily think that model is sustainable, but he's here now. If I had to pick out of anybody not in Tennessee orange and white, not in Pantone 151, go with Clemson, man. Outside as my dark horse. I
mean, I can see the dark horse part of it, but I'm giving you the money making part of this whole situation.
I'm with you.
Nobody want to see Clemson in the national championship.
No.
Don't nobody want to see Clemson. Like right now, don't nobody really want to see Texas. They tired of hearing Texas.
Yes.
Like right now, everybody wants to see an underdog in a situation. And right now, the best underdog is Tennessee, not just because there's my squad. I'm not going to
No, 100%.
because right now, the way the committee put these teams in, they giving everybody a chance to put the SEC out.
Yeah.
That's what the matchups are right now, based on to get them out. But right now, if Tennessee win, they're in trouble because now you truly got a dark horse that can
Yes.
compete with anybody that they play against based off the athletes that's on the field. Because right now,
Absolutely.
if you look at it right now, if Tennessee gets past Ohio State, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. If they get past Ohio State, you're looking at a Tennessee-Georgia matchup.
Well, one of those two teams got to win it to go play for it all. And out of the 18 or the 6 teams, on the bottom part of that bracket, we match up damn well with any of those. Saying, but you look at it, man. Like, okay, you've got it. Tennessee, Notre Dame, Penn State, Texas, Clemson's up there, but those are your in the first 4 games. Those are your 4 biggest brands. And then you look at the next round that's got the byes: Oregon, Georgia, Boise State, Arizona State. Who's your biggest brand in that? Georgia. And it's not even close. Not even close. People can say Oregon all they want to just because of the Nike thing. No, screw that. No. Georgia is your biggest brand in that. Notre Dame will probably win that game first round by a lot, just because it's Notre Dame, Indiana. Go ahead and pencil that Notre Dame Georgia game in. Like, it's the script's writing itself, so to speak. You know what I mean? That being said, though, let's dart through these last couple points real quick. No Alabama tickles the shit out of me. No Alabama, none.
And that's the way it's supposed to be right now. Like, I'm like, the world is shocked that it happened, but it shouldn't be a shocker because, come on, guys, there's 3 losses, man.
3 losses to two.
You can come
two
up
of the
with
3.
all this stuff with the strength of schedule or who they play, but you got to understand the whole situation, how this game is played. It's supposed to be by rankings, where these teams are at the end of their rankings. So, like, just say if this was the situation where the BCS championship, how it works, or how they do the actual bowl games where they work, where would Alabama be playing it? They wouldn't be playing the Citrus Bowl. They wouldn't be playing in New Year's Bowl game.
No.
Hey,
New Year's, they might get one of the lower tier New Year's
I
games.
know, but they'll probably.
But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Nashville, somewhere like that. They wouldn't be in like one of the good New Year Bowl games where you know.
But I'm gonna take one more shot at them. I did not know that the ReliaQuest Bowl was in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they getting a 6-6 Michigan, 7-5 Michigan team. Go Wolverines in that one.
Yeah.
Man, I love ragging on them. I do. I love it. Like,
I just wish the world would just stop just automatically giving it to them because they're Bama, though.
Well,
I understand that, but like 3 losses, you're not supposed to be anywhere.
no,
I mean, 2 losses. I'm saying it because I don't care. 2 losses, you're not supposed to be anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The way they have committed and I must say it, how they have rigged this up to put who they want to put in it and match up who they want to match up based on how much money they want to make for this season. I'm telling you.
The biggest money maker in that first round game is Tennessee traveling to the shoe. Plain and simple. And it's not even close.
And because guess what? Guess what game day is going to be?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Like, it's wild to me, man. So
it's amazing how they don't give us that credit, but guess who they always follow first?
That's where the money goes, buddy. So here's my next question for you. The conference championship games. Do you feel like they matter like they used to? Because here's the thing, and I'm going to say this: 3 out of the 4, the champs and the runner-ups are in.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It shouldn't be a situation where the runner-up still got a chance.
That's true. I'm with you.
This is the end of the season. If you lose, you go home. You shouldn't still have an opportunity to play for the big girl, because that messes up for the teams that are, let's say there's a one-loss team that's behind you. You lose, you're supposed to get jumped.
That's true. That's
It
true.
shouldn't be because of your school is going to bring more fans or you're the sexiest. No, that messes up for what these kids have worked for to get to that situation. I understand that, you still got to put on the show and they're going to put that product on the field. But I'm going to always use Florida State last year, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can call it what you want because of what they did the next game. But you don't know what would have happened if you would have put them in that game.
That is 100% fact. 100%.
College football has always been a special game because you never know who's going to win. You never know if you're going to get that bandit that did Alabama. You never know if you're going to get, how Oklahoma came out. Oh, Lord, Alabama only threw 3 points. What the heck? You don't know that. And that's the part about college football that it kind of let me down last year when they did Florida State like that. You're talking about an undefeated team, and then you're going to try to tell me that the ACC is not worth it now?
No, I'm with you 100%, man. Like that's the way it should be. They just, I don't know, man. Like I feel like up until this year, those conference championship games meant so much more to your point. Like they really did, because you were guaranteed in if you won, and you didn't know your fate if you lost. But look at Georgia. They, of course, granted, it's a moot point now because they ended up winning anyway. But my question is, and you and I talked about this too, we were texting about it. If they lost, can you put them in without Carson Beck? Florida State rule. Do they get the Florida State treatment? I don't think they would have.
No, they wouldn't. They would have still put Georgia in, and Georgia would have still been in a legitimate situation to still go play for the championship because they would have got the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, 150. I have no doubt about that. And that's not fair, honestly. Like if we're going to talk about and I'm not going to bitch about it, but that's not fair. Like what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know what I mean? So here, the last question before we close it out. Independent Notre Dame, they don't get a chance at a bye. No conference championship, no conference championship game, whatever. If you're Notre Dame at this point in time, are you staying independent, or are you going to be like, hey, let's join a Power 5? Or are you going to, or if you're the playoff committee, are you going to fix the rules? Because we know changes are going to come. Changes will come this year. After the way this has been, put out, everybody's bitched about it. Everybody and their brothers had something to say about it. Are you going to make Notre Dame join a Power 5? Or are you going to say, okay, you've got to be ranked higher than the other Power 5, non-Power 5 champs to get a bye?
I don't think it'll change, man. Notre Dame has been doing this for so long. I mean, if it ain't broke, why fix it? I mean, I don't think they care if they win a national championship or not now. And because the amount of money that they're making with that school being independent, why join something and create extra losses for us when we got a chance to go to the championship every year if we just do what we have to do?
That's true. That's a good point. I'm with you there. Here's one thing though that I do want to throw out there with this. Did you see, and this is funny as shit, man, Bama AD Greg Byron, he's like, where he's complaining about how this was done, this, that, and the other. We're going to have to reevaluate how our schedule is. It's like, dude, you realize your 3 losses were in conference, right? What are you going to do? Go independent? I wish they would. I wish they would.
See, that's the thing is, though, man, like, they've gotten to the point where they have got, the big head. They've gotten conceited to what a point where they are, how you saying the word, but privileged.
Yeah.
They think that, it's their way or no way.
That's true.
And that's not even, and I must say it because it's not fair to the other schools that you still was getting the benefit of the doubt. Even though I had 3 losses, they was still getting the opportunity to have a chance to get in there. Because like if SMU would have won that game, man, there would have been so many different controversies when it came to this. I truly think Bama would have got in if SMU would have lost. I mean, would have won.
Yeah, they probably would have. I mean, well, here's my thing is I feel like they had put them in there as a placeholder, so to speak, just as a just in case, like, okay, say Clemson shits the bed, SMU gets in over Clemson and blows Clemson out. You can't make a strong enough case to keep Clemson in the playoffs.
And
at that point,
yes, and that would have been the reason Bama would have got in, because they would have kicked Clemson out.
Exactly.
Clemson probably would have been the only one of the conference champions that lost that didn't stay inside the 12.
Facts. Big facts. Well, buddy, I think we've talked about this playoff preview show here just about enough. Let's call this one an episode, and let's get ready to talk about that Ohio State game.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, buddy. I'm gonna hit record. We'll end this one with the Go Vols.
Right, Go Vols.